80s, our regular Wednesday night edition. We coming to you from Central Time, 7:30, and we're a weekly podcast, and we appreciate your support. We're picking up people left and right, and yeah, we definitely appreciate you joining in. All right, redirecting. Let's see what we got going here. There we go. Got it. And I think we're YouTubing live. Okay. All right. So, Stephanie, let me go ahead and do our little intro stuff, and I'll introduce you.
Sounds good.
Live from Nashville, Tennessee, you are listening to the DND Dynamite 80s podcast with your host, DC and DH. So, guys, take it away. All right. Well, welcome in for another week. Yeah. And hey, we're thrilled to have Stephanie LeClair with us. She is what I would call a 80s expert for sure. Has a lot of cool stuff, does a lot of cool kind of skits, if you will. Maybe not skits. We'll let her explain that a little bit better. But she has a lot of cool stuff from that 80s decade. So I know she loves that stuff just as much as we do here. And hey, Stephanie, we appreciate you joining in. How are you?
Thank you for having me. I'm good. And yourself?
I'm doing great, thank you. I've got to ask this first. Do you have any kind of idea the number of pieces you have that date back to that 80s decade? Do you have any kind of idea at all?
I don't. It's honestly just stuff that I have collected from
Mm-hmm.
growing up. You put things in boxes, you move, you don't unpack those boxes, and eventually you just have an accumulative of memories and things in boxes. So it
Yeah.
wasn't until I put this room together that I could actually see everything that there was. So,
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
but yeah, no,
Um.
I don't have an idea of how many
Yeah.
items.
Yeah. What gave you the idea to kind of do on social media with this?
Okay. So, I had been on TikTok as a viewer.
Uh huh.
Had an account as a viewer,
Right.
and probably for about 6 or 8 months. And at that time, I was kind of cleaning out a room and came across all my boxes.
Sure.
And just at that time, I don't have any children, so I don't have any children to share this with, right?
Uh
So
huh. Uh huh.
I thought as I was unpacking everything, I'm like, well, I have this empty room. I might as well just kind of piece it together. I saw on social media that there were other 80s creators and
Sure. Sure.
following for it. So I thought, hey, maybe people can relate to me and some of the items that I've saved throughout growing up. So
Yeah. Yeah.
mhm.
Okay. All right. Well, let me ask. I want to do this. I thought this would be kind of cool. I've seen some of your videos where you kind of show a cassette here and there, and play some music and stuff like that. I'm curious. Do you have? Let's just do a little list here. Do you have "Reckless" by Bryan Adams on cassette?
Ooh. Um, I might have it on cassette or off the top of my head, I don't know.
Okay. Okay. I was
Or
just curious.
I might have it on CD, either
There you
or.
go. There you
I'm
go. Okay. All right. So we'll say you have it in some form. How about something with dealing with Pac-Man?
uh, like an item with Pac-Man.
Yeah. Yeah.
So this isn't from that time, but I just at Christmas time just
There you
got
go.
a replica
There
of
you go.
that. Have the Pac-Man video game
Uh huh. Uh huh.
TV.
Yeah.
And then I have a large like stand-up Pac-Man joystick that
Wow.
you can play
Okay.
standing up. So that was
Okay.
a recent find. But
There you go. There you
hmm,
go. Okay. What? I know this may be difficult for you to answer. What would be one of your most treasured items, and why?
um I would probably say the thing that's been with me the longest
Mm-hmm.
would be my Cabbage Patch Kid.
Wow.
I
Okay.
have a
Yeah. Yeah.
collection of them,
Sure.
but there's
Sure.
my very first one that's been with me since I was a little kid.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say that's
Okay.
probably
Yeah.
my number one.
Yeah. Yeah. What do
Mhm.
you think? Speaking of those, what made those just go out of sight during
I'm
that time period?
I'm
You have
not
any idea?
I'd have no clue why
Yeah.
that happened, but boy oh boy
Right.
was that.
Yeah. Now, if I remember right, those were where you could like adopt them. Is that
Yeah.
right?
Mhm.
Okay. Okay. So maybe that was kind of the spin on it. I don't know. That was a little
Maybe.
different. Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
And the
To make it
advertising.
more your personal item, I guess.
Yeah,
Maybe
exactly.
that was what it was. I don't know. I
Possibly.
always kind of wondered that. I always kind of
It's
wondered
quite the
that.
rage though.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I like
Absolutely.
I remember my mom was
Hmm.
looking for something for me and she was having a heck of a time trying to find those. So
Yeah. Yeah. Very hard. Yeah. Very difficult to find in the store at times. Yeah. Yeah. Those were those that they tried to run and grab from each other and
yeah.
tackle each other in the stores and all that good stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very, very, very popular items back then.
Hmm.
Do you have any kind of clothing items that stick?
So
Yeah.
the original clothing I have, so I
Mm-hmm.
I do 80s and 90s stuff.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
I don't have any of my original 80s, I don't think, but
Mm-hmm.
I have most of my 90s clothing.
Oh wow. Okay.
I just
Yeah.
haven't really gotten into the 90s on my channel too
Right.
much, but
Right.
it might come. So, but yeah, I
Yeah.
like all that stuff. I was
Yeah.
a bartender in the 90s, so I still have
Okay.
those types of clothes and whatever.
Sure.
Hmm.
Sure. Yeah. Um, I'm curious of this too. Do other 80s experts or 80s people that focus on that kind of stuff on their pages or on their social media, I guess is a better way to say this. Do they reach out to you? Do you
Uh,
communicate with others?
yes, yes, I've met so many nice people.
Really?
They're
Okay.
creators in my genre.
Uh-huh. Right.
Developed some really good friendships. So
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah.
I was quite surprised with that actually.
Yeah.
Accept
Yeah.
anything like that. So
It's kind of a unifying thing, isn't it? It's a bond that you know, and you meet all kinds of folks like yourself and all that that are just, that's just a passionate time, or that decade was very special to them in whatever way.
yeah,
So yeah, it's been a cool thing for us as well. We're on basically almost 4 years of doing this, and
wow,
met a lot of just fabulous people, that has the same kind of things in common. Just celebrating those 80s, and reliving those things is pretty cool stuff.
yes.
Um, yeah. So, is there, I don't know, is there other items or something that you really want to try to get that you don't have possibly?
Mm. I definitely want a Swatch watch. I don't know why I didn't save my Swatch watch, but
Okay. Yeah.
the
Yeah.
specific one that I want and that
Yeah.
I got growing up, and I don't know why I didn't save that.
Yeah. I wonder how difficult that would be to find an item like that.
Swatch watches are you can go on Etsy or eBay, whatnot,
Okay.
to find them,
Okay.
but the specific one that I'm looking for,
Sure.
I haven't
Sure.
come across it, just a picture of it, so
Right.
keeping my
Right.
eyes out.
Right.
Mhm.
Are you still and I know I think some of this as well where you kind of show like on the older tube TVs, you show
Yeah,
some of those old TV shows and things like that. What was a couple of your favorites?
of the TV shows?
Sure. Sure.
Oh, geez, so, I remember, growing up,
Mhm.
a lot of Three's Company, Dukes of
Sure.
Hazzard, like, I'm going way back, right?
Oh, absolutely. I'm
Um,
with you. Dukes of
Incredible
Hazzard.
Hulk.
That brings back a lot of memories. Yeah,
Oh, yeah,
absolutely. Sure.
absolutely, I love that.
Yeah.
Still love it.
Well, and we're in the South here, so that was really close to home for us. They filmed
Definitely.
that thing. I think a lot of it was filmed in Georgia or parts of it, so pretty close to our neck of the woods down here. So,
Yeah.
yeah. So for us growing up, I don't know. That was like a middle school / junior high type of years when it was on for us, and Oh yeah, everybody wanted to like dress
It
like them and
was
act
big.
like them and
I remember
have
we
a
had,
car like them and all
yeah,
that stuff. Yeah, sure.
my dad had, he liked to work on cars when I was young,
Uh huh.
and had, a few parked in the back, and one of them was a Camaro, and I remember I might have been 5 or 6 years old, and I played Daisy Duke, and I would roll
Sure.
down the window in the Camaro, and I would jump in.
We get in. Yeah,
Yeah.
without opening the door. Absolutely. Yeah. Well, and here's the thing: there would be people that might not say it to you, but a lot of people have done that.
Yeah,
I
no, just
guarantee you, a lot of people have done that and tried that and mimicked that for
yes.
sure. No question about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. The deal that it has, the impact that it can have,
Mhm.
all those kind of iconic shows is pretty cool stuff. Three's
Yeah.
Company was fabulous. It was kind of ahead of its time with the three singles living together and all that kind of stuff. I mean, you wouldn't think about it being that big a deal now, but of
Back then
course,
it was.
absolutely. So they
Mhm.
stepped over the barrier a little bit and made it funny, and so I think that's how it lasted like it did because they made it into humor.
Mhm.
That scenario, of course, but yeah, very very famous. Very special shows.
Mhm.
How about some of the movies
Oh.
of that time? What's some of them that stick out to you?
Oh, so many. Any John Hughes movies,
Sure,
you
sure,
know, that's just a given.
yeah.
Some I have some movies on the ground here. Definitely Goonies.
Mm-hmm.
Um, have you ever heard of The Burbs
Oh, absolutely,
with Tom
absolutely.
Hanks? I love that
Yes,
one. Um,
great
I'm
movie,
I'm a
great movie.
horror
Mm-hmm.
fan, so I love Friday 13th and the
Yep.
Halloweens and Nightmare on
Mm-hmm.
Elm Streets. Uh, Ferris Bueller, Dirty Dancing. I can
Sure.
go on and on about
Yeah.
movies
Yeah.
and
Footloose, of course.
oh, absolutely.
Yeah. Top Gun.
Top Gun, Girls
All
Just
those
Want to Have
just
Fun.
amazing. Just
Mhm,
amazing. Breakfast Club, like you said with John Hughes.
mhm.
Just the genius I think that guy was.
Oh, for sure.
16 can all those great, teenage movies that we grew up enjoying, of course, but
Yep.
Fast Times,
Oh,
Ridgemont High, all that.
yeah.
So, yeah. And here's my thing. I guess it's just living in that time period, growing up at that particular time. But I just don't see the quality of those kind of things here anymore.
No.
I don't know. What's your kind of your
Like, even in the movies, you mean?
or even music? Even the music nowadays.
I think when it comes to movies and music,
Hmm.
a lot of it is computer, uh, edited,
Sure,
like, they edited back then, but not like they do now.
not like they do now.
No,
Because if you have the look and maybe not the talent of the voice, they can make it work.
exactly.
And we've heard some of that from some guests, that's what they kind of don't appreciate as much. Some of these older, guys and gals that we've, artists that we've had on,
Mhm,
that's their rub about things is like, even if you're not as talented,
mhm.
but there's something about your look or your appearance or something about you.
Yeah,
They're going, a company can make it work. So,
exactly.
and that's kind of sad. We're going to adapt it to, it may not be you, but we're going to make it work. So, yeah, yeah.
Like
So a lot of things have changed like that, I guess. You're right. Very much
yeah,
so.
like the special effects in horror movies and whatnot, back
Right.
then, it was all like special effects makeup, right?
Right.
See it was
Sure.
fake, but,
Yeah.
um, it
Yeah.
definitely it's lost its touch over the years for
Right.
sure.
Right. Right. Um, is there, I don't know, do you think there's younger generations that are kind of getting into this kind of decade stuff with the 80s?
I think so. From what I've
Yeah.
seen on social media, there's
Yeah.
definitely some very creative, talented young people that are embracing, that time, so,
Sure. Sure.
um, but they're doing very well at it.
Yeah.
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 Mhm.
And I'm trying to kind of grasp how or where. Maybe they're getting it off social media. Maybe some of them are getting it from inspired by a family member or something. But yeah, I'm kind of surprised of how popular this decade is throughout the media world.
Well, I think the 80s just had the best music and the best movies and everything. And like, how can
Yeah,
you gravitate towards that and I'm sure some of it is from their parents or,
sure.
family member.
Right.
There's thrift stores, they go out and they see and it's definitely it's still out there. It's still quite prevalent when you go into
Yeah.
those stores to see uh,
Right.
items from
Right.
our past, right? So,
Right. Right.
but I think for the most part, it's they've either heard music and then they investigated a little bit further and
Sure.
realized that
Sure.
there's other things that they like about that decade. So,
Sure. Sure. Um, Need to ask this one too.
yeah.
If you had to kind of give like your top five, what would be like your top five? I don't know, groups slash or solo artists of the '80s. If you had to
Uh,
kind of rank them, the top five, I know that may be hard for you to do, and it's okay. But if you could
yeah.
name five of them, that'd be
Okay,
kind
so
of cool.
I did make some notes, right? Because I haven't done
Yeah.
this before, so I'm nervous.
No, you're fine. You're
But I
fine.
I figured that this would be a question, so
Yeah.
definitely. I'll just run through a few, if that's
Sure.
okay.
Sure.
Uh,
Absolutely.
Def Leppard, Motley Crue,
Hmm.
Twisted Sister, Bon Jovi, Whitesnake, we have Firehouse, Poison,
That's a
Silhouette,
great group that a lot of people overlook.
which
That's a great one. Firehouse.
oh,
Absolutely.
yeah. Yep.
Fantastic. Yeah. I'm glad you mentioned them. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
That's a cool one.
whole bunch more, Skid
Yeah.
Row, Aerosmith, like
Sure.
Van Halen, all
Yep.
platinum blonde.
Right. Right.
Hear
I
that
gotta
one?
ask. I gotta
Yeah.
ask. And I didn't wear it tonight, but I've got it. Sammy or Dave?
Ooh. Okay,
Because
so
my partner would want. He goes one direction on this, and I go the other. So I'm curious.
all right, so I'm kind of split.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, my memories of Dave are from early childhood, and it reminds me
Right.
of my brother. And teenager, high school would be Sammy. I did see Van Halen in
Oh
concert.
wow.
It was with
Okay.
um, got my ticket stub here
Oh,
from
that's fantastic.
1993.
That would have
Um,
been Sammy. Uh huh.
Sammy,
Yep.
and so I saw them in concert with Sammy, and
Mm-hmm.
it was
Mm-hmm.
excellent. Um, but to pick, oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Um, I like originals, so I'm gonna say Dave, but
I have to, yeah, and that well, DH would be happy about that. Because I'm a Sammy Hagar guy. I just love he's so talented.
he put
Yeah,
out
and of course Dave, of course, he was the front guy and he was the showman and
yeah,
not to take away from his work either, but if I had to choose, I love Sammy's work. I just do.
they were both
And so
great.
I've got a shirt that's got it says Sammy and it's got a greater than sign, Dave. So anyway, just curious. I was curious on that. That's cool. That's cool
Yeah,
that you actually got to see them.
mhm.
Yeah,
Wish,
yeah, that would.
I wish I was old enough to see um Dave, but
Yeah, yeah, and DH has. When I was younger, my my parents they just kind of weren't big on that kind of thing. Like, you can go to movies, and all that stuff, but you're not going concerts,
yeah,
because they just thought, you don't need to do that. And I don't know. I don't know what their deal was on that.
right.
So until I got to being older, college age or whatever, I didn't get to go to I may have been to one or two like in high school age,
Mhm.
but my catching up has been since adulthood on
Right.
this stuff. Yeah, matter of fact, going to see Journey again. I've seen Toto a couple times, and
Nice.
And of course, that's not them then, but you still get at least a little experience of these are
Exactly.
these are my people here,
Exactly.
that kind of thing.
And then when
RL
you're proud.
Speedwagon, Loverboy, I've seen, as an adult, and yeah, several. Oh, speaking of, now I think I not read, but seen somewhere. You're in Canada, right?
Yes.
Okay, so there we go.
I'm in
So
Ontario.
interested.
Hmm.
Didn't say Loverboy. You probably grew up with a Loverboy though, right? Quite a bit of Loverboy.
Actually, I usually have my Loverboy album up on my,
Okay.
but right now it's Eddie Money. So,
That one worked. That one works too.
but
Absolutely.
yes,
That's a
you're right.
great. That's a
Like,
great call too. That's a
yeah,
great call
I
as
didn't say
well.
that. I didn't say Honeymoon Suite. I didn't say
Yeah.
you guys know Kim Mitchell. Like,
Yes.
okay,
Yeah.
yeah. So
Yeah.
all those
Okay.
Canadians, definitely.
Gotcha.
Hmm.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Um. Yeah. So that's what I was about to ask, and you kind of started that. Other than Brian Adams, of course, and then you got Loverboy. What? Who were some other '80s folks
I have to look up
that
if
are
I
Canadian?
Alias.
Oh, okay.
Uh,
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
so Alias, Kim Mitchell.
Mm-hmm.
We have um Alias, Kim Mitchell, Honeymoon Suite. I know I'm forgetting
Mm-hmm.
a
Mm-hmm.
ton of them, but I did a oh no, it's in my drafts. I was gonna say I did a video on that, but it's
Mm-hmm.
sitting in my drafts right now.
We are in the process. Their media agent, advisor. They call themselves all kinds of different. It just depends on who it is that we're talking. But anyway, it's one of those type of people for them. The group, the Kings. I don't know if you remember them. Early '80s, like 1980 ish.
Hear a song? That's
I'm not familiar with like a hit song, but I do know they did the Bandstand here, American Bandstand,
okay.
and I've seen them on, like, looked them up on video, and I do recall them. I just don't remember them having like a hit song, but very talented guys, and I'm pretty sure that I read somewhere where they're from Canada as well.
Oh, really?
So we're about to, like I said, later on in the year, try to get those guys because they definitely want to be on. They're putting out some new music. It's the same. It's original guys still
Mhm.
together,
Oh, well, that's good.
which is hard to. Yeah, that doesn't happen every day nowadays.
No, it doesn't.
So anyway, I was just curious if you may have
Well, that's
heard of
cool.
those
No, I'm gonna
guys.
look them up, and I bet you as
Do a
soon as
search for them. Yeah, the
I do,
Kings.
I'm gonna know who they are. Definitely.
Yes, and like I said, I was familiar with one of their. I just can't recall what the name of the song is, but there was a couple of songs that, yes, I very much kind of remember that song or that melody of that song or whatever, and it kind of hit me. So anyway, yeah. But I was trying to think of some, and that's the first. That's the couple that came to my mind was Brian Adams, of course, and Loverboy.
I know, I think Sebastian Bach's from,
That is correct. Yes, he is from Canada.
um,
Yes, yeah. And
no, no.
there's solo artists I know that I'm leaving out, of course, that are a bunch of them.
Yeah, definitely.
But the ones that just popped in my mind, '80s wise, would be that's the first two on the list for sure.
Mhm.
Ever seen Loverboy, by the way?
Have I know.
They even later on, and of course they're still performing together too. Very, very good.
That
Very,
would
very good. I was very happy that I got a chance to see them
that
because I've loved their music, of course. I'll never forget. Speaking of them guys, I first heard their music. They played, and I cannot recall the name of the soap opera. It was a well-known soap opera here in the States. They actually like were the band like in a scene. They were playing like in a bar or something in one of these daytime soap operas, and that's where I first heard them. I was like, man, these guys are great.
oh, you're
So
giving me lots of things to look up after this.
yeah, yeah. So I want to say I want to say it was either The Young and the Restless or The Guiding Light. One of those. One of those.
Probably The Young and Restless.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
Because they had, well, he played Danny. What is it? Michael Damian.
Oh, yes.
Michael Damian. And he's back on that show, I think. I think
is
he's
he?
back. I think he is back on there as Danny, whatever his name was, as the singer and all that stuff.
Right.
So yeah, kind of interesting stuff there too. Were you a poster person? Did you have lots of posters? I noticed that you got pictures and stuff popped
I
up
did.
there.
So the ones that I saved,
Mm-hmm.
we had moved, so obviously New Kids on the Block. I had all the posters, and as we were moving, I put them all in a box, and I never opened up that box again. And then I had moved another time, and I had gotten rid of a whole bunch of magazines, but kept some.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
I kind of went through it. Anyways, all these years later, I open up these boxes, and this is what I've saved.
I gotcha. I
So
gotcha. Yeah. Yeah.
it was all a whole bunch of New Kids stuff in one box,
Right.
and that's what was saved. So that's what's on the walls.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
Great.
Speaking of the magazines, what was some of those? I'm trying to remember some. Tiger Beat. What was
Tiger
some of?
Beat.
Yeah. What was some of those
There was
names
Bop,
of some of those?
Bop, Big Bopper,
Okay.
Teen.
Okay. Yes.
There's a few I have down here. Teen Beat.
Yep.
Those are the ones that are off the top of my head.
Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
a big fan of
And they
Bop.
didn't have a bunch of them for
Pardon me?
teenagers. I said they really didn't have a bunch of them for teenagers. You know, they had a few here and there to choose from, but nothing like more the older adult kind of,
Right.
magazines.
Mhm.
But you had one or two that were low enough that, oh, okay, yeah, the kids wanted those, and it had all the, if I remember right, it was like the latest and greatest of like the singers or the teenage actors or whatever, if I kind of recall
Exactly.
that. So,
Yeah.
yeah. And
Oh,
if I'm right on this, I think because as a boy, I didn't buy those things, but if I remember right, didn't they even have, like you're saying, like some small posters in them?
they did. Yes.
Okay.
That's how I got a majority of my posters. So
Okay.
there were
Okay.
few ones that I had purchased. They used to, when they came rolled up in plastic, they would sell
Yes.
Kmart or Zellers or whatever.
Sure.
You get the big
And that's
poster,
how I bought mine. Yeah.
Yeah.
Was that way. Yeah.
but then all the like the smaller posters, those were all leaflets in the magazines, or you
Okay.
cut them out of the magazines to put them on your wall.
There you go. There
Yeah.
you go. Yeah, absolutely. Okay. All right. Cool. I think I had seen a video where you did a skit with a rotary phone. There you go. Now, here's what's interesting to me about that is, like, I teach high school kids. Some of those kids would be clueless. What the heck is that contraption? I guarantee you some of them would.
I've seen
They wouldn't have a clue how to operate it.
I've seen a few videos where
Yeah.
the parents have, handed the phone to the kids
Right.
and said, "Okay, dial this number." They have
Sure.
no idea. They dial
They
without like,
they wouldn't have an idea. No idea. And how ironic is that's just crazy to me.
yeah, or how to use a phone book.
No idea. No, they wouldn't have an idea. How do you even look? What do you mean phone number? Well, it's in our contacts. What do you mean?
Exactly.
I mean that would be their thought process. Well, we just type it in and save it in a contact. No, you had to look it up
do you
by
still
their last name.
do you still remember your childhood phone number?
Yes, 615-793-6207.
Right?
103 Campbell Place is
Yeah.
where I lived.
There's
So-
something it's
Well, and you're taught that real early in life that, you better, if you have a problem, you better call us or whatever. And that was the number.
yeah.
And I'll remember that. I always remember this too. We had the one phone. I grew up in a house with there was three boys. I was the oldest, and very small house,
Mhm.
1,000 square feet maybe. So we were really on top of each other all the time.
Yep.
So when you got to that certain age of wanting to be having a little privacy or thought that you should deserve some,
Yes.
um, I'll never forget. I finally talked my parents into like, well, can we at least get a splitter?
Yeah. The splitter.
Because we had the one landline that
Yep.
was the big phone in the kitchen that stretched from one end of the house to the other.
Yes.
With that big long cord. And finally, okay, all right. But my brothers would try to I try to get privacy, and they'd try to lift up on the phone and giggle in it, and all that. How much things have changed? It's crazy. It's just absolutely insane.
I love landlines though.
Yeah,
I still have one. Um, I won't ever get rid of it for whatever reason. And
yeah, yeah. And the little town that we grew up in outside of Nashville, I remember this being a problem from time to time. Is that you get on the line and somebody else be on it?
oh, like a party line or someone in your
Yeah, yeah. But it
line.
wasn't all the time. But at certain times, I guess when it got really, really busy,
Mhm.
and it kind of just happened. But
Mhm.
like I said, it wasn't daily. But I will never forget how my dad just got irate with a person. I don't know. It was like somebody was seriously injured or sick, or he was trying to call another family member. Get off this phone! I have to have or whatever. And they just kind of laggy gagged around and wouldn't get off. For
Yep.
some reason, I still remember that to this day. But yeah,
I
it's
still
neat
hear
stuff.
those party lines. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, cool stuff, cool stuff. Um, are you kind of shell shocked? I think I was when it first kind of snuck up into the deal here. About LPs coming back around, vinyl.
I'm happy that I'm
Yeah,
so
why
if
so? Why so?
I don't know if I'm shocked. Um, I don't know if I'm shocked, but I'm happy about it. I'm
Right.
happy because it's so nostalgic. The sound,
Mm-hmm.
if you have good equipment, the sound is just so rich, and there's just something about, cassettes and LPs, having those physical items in your hand and going through that process of intentionally listening to your music,
Mm. Yeah,
right?
makes it more personal, doesn't it? In a way. Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. Speaking of cassettes,
Mhm.
I don't think people nowadays would understand or appreciate it or even get mad about it about the spaghetti of it coming out. Like if one got caught in there or whatever, and you had paid a bunch of money for that thing, and then oh gosh, it breaks or gets all tangled up or whatever. Not that ever happened a
I did
couple of different times.
right?
You're
I did
right, right.
a video, because I had put, Tone Loc. I wanted to
Mm-hmm.
listen to Wild
Mm-hmm.
Thing in my
Mm-hmm.
cassette, and, it ate it up, and so I had done
Sure.
a video with the pencil winding it up, right?
Right. Right.
It was all crunchy. It doesn't sound the same, but
Right. Right. Yeah. Yeah. And that's what you tried to do because I mean, well, it's just like today where things, are, they cost and it's valuable to you and you
yeah.
don't want to replace something. It's hadn't changed even to today, but when you really felt like you'd worked hard to get those certain items, as a part-time job or something, you sure didn't. You were going to try whatever way you could to make sure, well, if it broke or it didn't work right, you tried to fix it. Like you said,
We're gonna
even though
MacGyver it.
you darn right you did, if the
Right.
cassette started messing up, you would, try to pry something in there to help it,
Yeah.
smooth out the kink of it or whatever, whatever tried to happen with it, or a speaker started going haywire. You tried to do something to kind of fix it, compensate it, or whatever. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
when I was, if this didn't turn out well for me or my record, but, I was a really young child. My needle on my record player broke. So I took one of my mom's sewing needles and I
Wow. Okay.
jammed it up there, played it on my record. It played, but it ruined the record, obviously.
How
But that's
about that?
yeah, but
I
that's
wouldn't
the
even have thought of that. Interesting.
I don't know how I did. I might have been 5, 6 years old.
Sure. That's pretty impressive. Yeah.
Yeah, it
So
didn't break.
it worked the one time
Mhm,
for the one record.
yeah,
Crazy. How
mhm.
about that? That is neat.
It
That's a
didn't
neat.
sound right, like, it didn't sound good.
Exactly right. Yeah. Gotcha. Gotcha.
But yeah,
Gotcha.
yeah, you learn
Um,
things when you're in the 80s.
yeah, absolutely. That's, that's exactly right. That's exactly right. Um, so, and I kind of asked this at the front part. Do you think we're going to see more and more of these kind of 80s decade or 90s or whatever a person's decade is,
Mm.
let's say. Are we going to see more and more of that kind of shown on social media, you think? Is it going to
I
just continue?
I think so. I think especially for the 80s, because, uh, just, the music, the movies,
Mhm.
everything, nothing's been quite like it since.
Right.
Um, I think you're going to find as life gets busier and the world gets busier and things get more chaotic, that people just wanna kinda simplify things and go back to a simpler time, and I
Yeah.
think you're probably gonna see people always reverting back to the 80s and 90s, 70s, 60s, whatever
Sure. Whatever that
your
feel good time
Y2K,
was. Yeah.
you know?
Yeah,
Mhm.
absolutely. Yeah, especially in times I think you're spot on with that.
Mhm.
Especially in times like we're going through now where you want that release.
Yeah.
You want to enjoy those fun times of the music or an old movie or whatever, to kind of give me a break from this a little bit, for a
What
few
I'm
minutes.
waiting for? I'm waiting for the movie stores to come back.
Interesting.
A lot of people I've heard say that they would go and rent a movie, they're tired of the streaming. It's that
Okay.
intentional, what like intentional listening to music.
Well,
You're
they've made it too easy, hadn't they?
yeah, they
They've
have.
made it too easy. Yeah, I
They have.
got you. Yeah, because that was the fun thing. Let's get in the vehicle, get in the car and go and look and, get 2 for 1 or 3 for 1s or
I don't know if
whatever.
it'll ever happen, but I hope it does.
Yeah, yeah. And that was the fun thing.
Yeah.
Which one? Oh, this just came out,
Yeah. I
So
do
let's
have
make sure and make sure, you were disappointed if the tag was, all the tags were gone from that
yeah.
particular one. So it's like, darn, gotta wait. Can I get on and some places would have the waiting list. Yeah,
Yes.
we'll
All
call
make
you.
reservations. I make
Right.
the
That
reservation for Friday night
very,
for
very, very true. Very true. Yeah, that's a good point. What? Yeah, we
I
shall
have a
see if
few
that will come
stores.
back.
Like, I live in a small town, so
Hmm.
there's still a few, like, convenience stores that have, a
Some
movie
videos.
rent.
Wow. Okay. For rent.
Mhm.
Cool. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. We don't see that as much here anymore. Like you said, just everybody wants the convenient, it's convenient, live stream it. I can see it anywhere, anytime and all that stuff. But you're right. It kind of takes that away from it. The thrill of, oh, maybe I can find this, let's go to the video store and find that
Mhm.
and look at it. It's kind of like,
Plus it
we're
would
on
look
we're on a mission, to find this certain thing. You're right.
yeah,
And it was fun to do that. That was a challenge to do that. Well,
one of my
let's go over to Blockbuster and see if they got it over there or whatever. So yeah, you're right. That's a great point. That's a
mhm.
great point. Um, I kind of touched on this, but I didn't. I don't think I went into good detail about it. Um, have you noticed? I talked about this. There are a lot of '80s folks, doing their socials about that decade. But have you noticed how many of them are young people?
I know.
Yeah, yeah. We didn't really touch on that. What's your thoughts on that? Or
On the
like, I mean, some of them are like, and we've interviewed a couple of them.
Mhm.
and I was floored how much knowledge
They're so
they
knowledgeable.
have. It's crazy. I
Mhm.
mean, younger people that knew the ins and outs a lot more than I thought than I
More
knew.
than I do sometimes, right?
Yeah.
And I lived it.
What's your thought on that?
I think it's
Are you kind of shocked?
um not shocked because I remember growing up there was a period of time that I liked the 50s and so I kind of
Sure. Yeah.
researched that and
Me
it's
too. Me too.
that
Yeah.
same of type of thing, I think, right? Um,
Gotcha. Okay.
but they're killing it out there. They're doing really good. There's a
That's
few of them that that
unreal. Unreal.
fantastic.
I mean, they've got it down to like dressing the
Mhm.
part. Everything that they put on there is like, okay, I'm actually visually reliving the 80s through what they've got going on.
Yes,
It's the
exactly.
craziest thing I ever seen. Yeah.
I watch them. I'm like, "Oh
Yeah.
my gosh, you're
Yeah.
reminding
Yeah. I'm just amazed.
me."
And then, like I said, at that age, to be that involved in that particular decade is just mind boggling to me. Why? Why that hits them so much?
I know that I remember watching one of them and their parents, I think, had a big influence on them. Like they had
Right.
their parents' music and or
Yep.
whatnot. And I
Yep.
think it snowballed from there. But
Sure.
I think that's where that probably starts.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know?
The good home baseline of that. Yeah. Yeah. That would make good sense to me about that. Um. Yeah. Uh, cool stuff. Do you see stopping doing it anytime soon?
Myself,
Yeah.
um, I don't know.
You kind of mentioned that you might go to more of the '90s kind of some things.
No, not more of the 90s. I
Oh,
just
okay.
kind of labeled my channel 80s and 90s.
Sure.
Up till now, I've shown a few 90s things, but
Right.
80s has my heart. 90s, it doesn't.
Gotcha.
But I
There
have
you go.
those
There
from
you go.
both. Uh,
Right.
I just gravitate towards the 80s. Right now,
Sure.
I'm having a difficult time with music, is all.
Gotcha.
So,
Gotcha. Gotcha. Gotcha.
uh, trying to figure that out.
Right. There you go. Stephanie, I'm going to let you go. We have had a awesome time visiting with you. Let the folks kind of know where to see your cool stuff. What your sites are, your socials are.
Okay, so I'm just on TikTok and YouTube right now. I haven't
Okay.
uploaded. I'll be uploading in the next week or two my videos to YouTube.
Oh,
But
fantastic. We'll be
yeah,
looking for that. Okay,
so
cool.
my name on TikTok is Stephanie LeClair,
Hmm.
and on my TikTok page there is a link for my YouTube channel, which is also Stephanie LeClair.
Awesome. Awesome. And folks, make sure you get on there on TikTok and check out her work. Is fabulous stuff. It is awesome. And yeah, hey, all the best to you. And we appreciate you taking time to do this with us.
Thank you very much for having me. It was very kind of you. This is
Oh,
fun.
absolutely.
First
Yeah,
time anyone's ever been in my room, so
feel honored.
yes, thank you.
If you'll hang there, we'll close it out and then we'll let you go on with your evening.
Okay, thank
All
you.
right. DND Dynamite 80s would like to thank their sponsors, Hudson's Flags and More, The Nesting Project of Smyrna, Tennessee, PJG Marketing, and our latest and greatest sponsor, Totally Cool 80s. You can check out all these great folks online. Yeah, check out Tammy Deaver with Totally Cool 80s. She's got several of these books she's put together. I thought I knew about the 80s. I have zero clue about the 80s. She skunked us big time with a lot of this stuff, but she's put out two of these books. Ultimate Mixtape, Side A and Side B. You can get them on Amazon. But we appreciate her sponsorship and yeah, just an awesome lady. And matter of fact, she helped get us a actual special guest that's coming up that I'm going to talk about here in just a second. So we appreciate Tammy Deaver with Totally Cool 80s. Next week, we got Kids in America. They are an 80s tribute band out of the Charlotte, North Carolina area. They play all over the United States. Just very talented musicians that focuses in on all 80s music. So we'll have those guys on next week. Later in the year, that's the one I wanted to mention about. We're very excited about having Wally Reyes Jr. Thank you, Tammy, for getting that set up for us. The drummer with Chicago. He is currently with Chicago now. So we're going to be excited to check in with him. Very talented musician in his own right. So check out his webpage. It's very, very, very good. So thank you once again, Tammy, for arranging that particular show for us. We appreciate that very much. So yeah, once again, Stephanie LeClair. She is 80s nostalgia expert. And just check out her cool stuff at TikTok. And thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
DC with you. I hope DH will be healthy enough to be back. I know he will next week. He hates missing and all that good stuff. So yeah, once again, live from Nashville. We appreciate you. Next week, same time, 7:30 Central Standard Time. We'll do it again next week. And once again, Stephanie, we appreciate you. All the best to you. And see you next week, folks. Bye-bye.
Bye.